Okay, good evening, everyone. Thanks for everyone for coming, and we'll go ahead and take roll at this time.
Flamini? Flamini? Funderburg? Here. Hanley?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
Lopez?
Here.
Moore? Here. Zimmers?
Here.
That is 7 present.
President's comments. First, I need to talk about public comments. Public comments on published agenda items will occur during the public comments portion of the meeting. If you're interested in addressing the board, fill out the required public participation at board meetings form and submit it to Ms. Hankins in the front row. And need to remind speakers that you have 3 minutes when you do speak, so I always need to remind people of that. And we do have Mr. Sanders, who's the timekeeper over there, and he's a real stickler on it. So, President's comments tonight. We talk a lot about college-bound students. I want to give kudos to a couple of groups that don't often get kudos. The first is I attended the co-op dinner last week. That's one of my favorite things to go to, is the co-op dinner. These are students that may or may not go to college, but what they are getting is experience on the job. And really, in the times that I've gone, it seems like it's expanding every year. We're getting more and more kids that are involved in this, more and more employers. And I have to tip my hat to employers in town that are willing to take a chance in having students work with them. So it really is a nice evening, a very nice event. It's one of these that I'll attend every year. I really enjoy it. And like I said, some of these students may go to college. Many of them probably won't, but at least they're learning a skill. The other thing I want to talk about, I visited the AVID program at Southeast last week. Lisa and Chuck and I all three went. I really liked the AVID program. They had a celebration, and there were about, 20 seniors were in this class. Every one of these seniors are going to college somewhere, and this is part of the purpose of this program. Students that have the ability, maybe just need a little motivation, and we actually start this in our middle schools. I think all of our middle schools have an AVID program at this point, right? Mm-hmm. All but one? Okay. And we'll work on that. We all need to have them. But anyway, I think it's a very valuable program. It kind of gets students motivated. The percentage of students from these classes going to college are amazing. And, it's not just a given for these students. They've really had to work at it. They've really had to stay in focus. The teachers that are running these programs at all levels are very dedicated to this program. They really believe in it. My hat's off to all the AVID programs, but particularly, and I've been invited to come talk to this particular class at Southeast 2 or 3 times this year, and so I've gotten to know them pretty well, but my hat's off to all the students. Okay, now we'll start with board salutes. Mr. Flamini.
Well, I would also mirror what you had just said about the AVID program. It's like one of about 100 programs in this district that really serves our kids. And these kids have obviously learned a lot. I believe that the teacher that leads that has done a wonderful job with them. And they were so proud to be there and to get some recognition. And a lot of kids get very little of that in their lifetime. But they had proven to many that they could do the work. So my hat's off to those for that.
Okay. I have just a couple. I know all of us attended the Educator of the Year lunch, so thank you to Horace Mann for recognizing excellence in teaching. Thank you, Mrs. Gill, for your inspirational remarks and reflections on each of the teachers. It was very personalized and meaningful. A couple of us attended Golden Laurels, which was a really nice celebration of all of our public high school National Honor Society seniors. It was a very nice evening. And finally, I wear another hat. I'm on the Old Capitol Art Fair board, and I want to congratulate our SHS art winners. We had the top 3 poster winners, all from Springfield High School's art department. 5 of the 6 scholarships awarded by PNC Bank went to Springfield High School art students. And finally, those SHS baseball boys who show up at the end of the day on Sunday when the grown-ups are really tired and cranky and ready to go home, and they're happy to be there, and they are schlepping and loading and moving, and we really appreciate those boys and their coaches who came. So thank you very much. Good reflection of Springfield High.
Mrs. Johnson.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to commend Lanphier High School basketball and Coach Turner and Coach Turner's mother and father. They won $10,000 from Midwest Technical Institute to help out the basketball program. So that was a challenging month, but it was well worth the effort. So kudos to Lanphier High School, and may they do great things. I printed off a list that Julie sent us of events. I thought I had it on my phone. I do somewhere, but I can't find it. Of course, I went to the Educator of the Year, the Golden Laurels. Another night, I can't keep up with myself. I went to all these programs. Franklin Middle School had honors night at Springfield High School on the 13th, and that was very impressive. There were, I don't know how many students that received awards. I know Mrs. Gill's child did. I think Mrs. Shermer's child received awards. It was very inspirational, and it was interesting the way they set it up by the class and how orderly they each group got up and went across the stage to receive their awards. So it was very impressive. The auditorium was packed, so I'm thinking maybe a larger venue may be necessary for next year, because I mean, I stood up for an hour and a half. I'm probably almost the oldest one in the room.
Next year you're on stage.
And then I also attended the Southeast High School honors program, and it was very impressive. And the number of students who received academic scholarships, and the number of students who are going into the military, and Springfield, you just have to pat all the administrators and the teachers on the back, because we have a lot of students who are doing such great things, and without some inspiration along the way, they wouldn't be doing all these great things. I also went to Lanphier Honors Program, and so, you know, it's been very busy, very taxing, but it makes you feel so good. When I went to work this morning, the ladies that sit on the other side of me, they were just drooping. I said, "What's wrong with you?" And they said, "I'm tired." I said, "Well, all the things that I do, I can't even imagine about being tired." But you know, this is the fun time of year. So, and this is the rewarding time of year where we can see what goes on in our district. So if you see a student, whether they're a senior or a kindergartner or a preschooler, just give them a pat on the back or give them a hug, because they've come a long way. They've made it through another year. I also, I'm full of them this time.
All right.
I work in the Capitol building, everyone knows that. So Tech 2015 was there, and we had demonstrations by students from Fairview Elementary School and from Jefferson Middle School, and hopefully we're going to get them in here to show their projects. And those children, when I went down there to see them, they were so proud, and they took their time and explained to me very detailed what their projects were. So hopefully you'll be paying attention when they get here.
Okay.
Maybe the next board meeting.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Mr. Lopez.
Ms. Johnson, you done?
Do you have more?
I don't know. I might come up with something.
We'll come back to you.
I don't have any.
I'm fine.
Mr. Hanley?
I also got to attend the co-op banquet, and it was very nice. It was very nice to see the students who are working in the district from the community. But I want to give a shout out. It's a little late. I don't know if it was in the paper or not, because I don't get the paper every day. But Springfield was the recipient of the 18th overall pick in the WNBA draft. So Alexa Harden, she is a Southeast graduate. Hats off to her. We got two now, and I believe next year, Mr. Grossman, we'll have the young lady from Springfield High, Miss Medley, in there.
I had a couple I forgot about. I also attended Southeast Awards ceremonies the other night, and correct me if I'm wrong, did you say there were over 148 students who got awards that evening? Is that the number? And that's just incredible, and that's the most that you've ever had, and that was just fantastic. A lot of kids in a lot of different categories. A lot of times you go to these awards and it's the same person keeps going up there. It's like you might as well just sit on stage. But that wasn't the case with this. You had multiple kids that, got awards. I thought that was really pretty neat. And I also wanted to give kudos to Southeast Girls Track Team and Springfield High's Track Team. They both qualified quite a few runners and field events for this weekend's state track meet, so kudos to those. And I think Clanford had a couple of girls also that qualified. So, do you think of anything else, Ms. Johnson, before we move on?
No, can't find the list.
All right.
I'll be back on the trail this week, so
All right.
look forward to more.
Okay, on now to discussion items. 4.1, old business. Do any board members have any old business they'd like to bring up?
I do. This has been about a year, but I talked to Miss Gill about Lee School and the road out there.
Right.
I know some people on social media kind of hit me up about where we're at with that. I didn't know if you can kind of let everybody know about the road
Right.
out there.
It's a unique situation in that we don't own the road, nor does the city. It's a private corporation that owns the road, and we have been in legal conversation with them for some time, but I understand there's some resolution and that we're going to have some movement this summer. Mr. Shaver, do you want
Yeah,
to
that's
speak
correct.
to that a little bit?
They were supposed to do some work in the fall, but it got too cold. So this, after school's out, they're going to come in and repair that section of that road right out front of the school, and then oil and chip it.
We just make sure we let the school know. I know they.
Oh, they're aware.
They're aware. Okay,
They
great.
get in the email strings with
Great.
Nathan does.
Sorry. Well, if you can just keep me updated. that'd be
They were
great.
sharing it with us at the same time they were
Oh,
they're
sharing with you,
And
eh?
it's been an ongoing problem, and it is frustrating when you drive out there. You have to kind of do the mogul, like go around.
Right, we've been cold patching it for years
Right.
and years and years, and you can tell.
Well, thank you for your.
And the owner of the property doesn't live here in Springfield. This
Right.
has been one of those kind of battles, from what I understand, after doing some history on it.
I'd be out there helping.
Because-
Daryl,
Calling me.
we can go out there and patch it.
I did that. I got lost in one.
Let me know, we'll get the truck ready.
The road that goes back there is the people that own all those.
Okay, anybody else have any old business?
Before you leave
Yes.
Lee School, I didn't get to make it, but they had graduation also on last Friday.
Yes, they did.
And I did encounter some people who had a child in the school, or a grandchild, or a relative in the school. And they were quite impressed with the graduation ceremony that Lee School had.
Good. Ms. Vanderberg?
Yes, could we, Mrs. Gill, at one of our next few meetings, have an update on how we are doing with rolling out the college online service that we now subscribe to? And I believe we were told that records for students at the end of this school year for seniors would go out electronically.
Right,
So I'd
the
like- I'd
parchment,
like-
get an update on that? No
Yeah.
problem. Most happy to do that. It's the parchment website, sure.
And how we're doing particularly with the parent training piece.
Okay.
On its-
Well, in that same regard, can we get an update on technology, what we're doing and how our equipment is holding up and all that
Okay.
stuff?
No problem.
Okay, anyone else? Old business? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to 4.2, new business. Any board members have any new business they'd like to bring up? Okay,
I have something that, and I don't know how to couch it, but I guess I have a question of the superintendent is, how far are we along in evaluations and that
Of our staff and our administrators, and
Yes.
you mean, how are we doing in regards to the law, the para-law?
And now, have we finished them for this school year, or where are we at in the process?
Yes, we're finished. We're finished with the teacher evaluations. We can give you a little overview of the timeline of that at the next board meeting if you like, and have that for you. Okay.
And also, please, I don't know whether it has to be in exec session or not, but
Okay.
administrators also.
Sure.
okay, any more new business? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4.3, student business. And please tell us this is not your last meeting.
Yeah.
You have been wonderful.
Oh, thank you. I think I'll attend like some of the meetings in June if you guys
Good,
want me to be
good.
there.
I would love you to
I mean,
be
I'll
there.
probably still be here.
Yes.
Okay.
But earlier in the month, the student roundtable got to meet with the parent roundtable for the first time. We were just talking about like our high school and middle school visits and like our goals for the year, and it was a lot of fun. It was really interesting to see what kind of questions that the parents had for us, as well as to get to ask them questions. And I thought it was really awesome that we were able to like talk to them, since a lot of us, like, we don't really get to see what goes on behind the scenes with our parents. So I think it's definitely something that we should continue in the future, like maybe like once a month meetings with the parent roundtable. I think that would be really positive. And it would also serve to like help get some of the information that we want out to parents as well. And I don't know if we should have like another meeting for like recommendations for next year. I know we're trying to get some of the roundtable members on this year to come back next year, so hopefully they all agree to do that. But we might form another meeting if necessary. If not,
Be happy to.
yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
Now, I know you're a part of the AVID program.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell a little bit about your experiences of AVID, since we brought that up earlier?
I'll start with 7th grade. My school did not offer AVID at that time for 7th graders, and my lit teacher decided to sit us down and talk about college. And I found out that going to college meant a lot more than just getting good grades and showing up to school, and that terrified me. So I decided that I needed to be involved in something to help me prepare. So 8th grade, when they offered AVID, I jumped at the opportunity to be involved in it, and I've been in it ever since. So that's like 5 years, I think. And it was a lot of fun to like. I guess this isn't. I'm one of those students who's already pretty much organized, so I don't really need that aspect of it. But toward junior and senior year, they go into like scholarships, what we need to do to get into college, applications, even job applications, resumes, stuff like that. And being at Springfield High, since we don't like have college advisors there like all the time, it's very helpful for us to be able to ask these questions, because a lot of my classmates who didn't take AVID weren't able to get the same help that we did, and I think that definitely gave us like a bit of like the upper hand. And I really appreciated that aspect of it so much, like junior and senior year. But freshman and sophomore year, it's really great for people who need that transition into high school and getting organized and figuring out how to take notes and what they need to do to be successful.
Excellent.
So you will be back with us for June meetings?
Yeah.
Okay. We just got done interviewing candidates for next year. One of the things we'd said to them is that, you were willing to stick around and kind of orientate them and work with them. So I'm glad to hear that you're going to be here for a couple more, because we really don't want to see you go. You really have to go to college?
Yeah. Kind of my
By the
whole
way,
life
you've
goal.
done a marvelous
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so
She's
happy.
also an excellent student. I was at Springfield High's Honors Night for seniors the other night. Mr. Grossen, I think you're in the audience, but you called out our board member's name, and it was very nice to see you get recognized. So congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you in your cap and gown.
Oh, thank you so much. I've been so happy to be a part of the board. It's one of the best experiences I've had in my 4
Great.
years.
Good, great.
Wonderful. Okay, we have no presentations to the board tonight, and we'll now move on to business reports. 6.1, Treasurer's Report.
Mr. Basco?
President Zimmers, members of the board, the district ended the month of April with a cash balance of $12,492,000 in the bank for all funds. Interest rates for the month with the Illinois funds averaged 0.024%. Earned interest for the month was $4,170. Year-to-date, interest earnings are $46,468. We also have a schedule of investments. We currently have a total of $9 million invested. We also included a line of credit schedule, and through April, we had withdrawn $7 million from our line of credit.
Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
I do. Mrs. Gill, perhaps you're going to cover this in your report, but are you going to talk about the budget, calendar, and milestones?
Yes, I mean, why don't I just let Mr. Basco, you've completed the budget at this point in time, and we will have it to you this week in the full form. And I gave you an overview in your packets tonight so that you could have that information.
That's correct.
And we'll give a full presentation to the board at the next board meeting,
Yes.
right? And what will you include in that, just so that everybody knows?
Probably just a summary of, our assumptions that we made on the revenue side, and, any changes that we've made from this current year going into next year on the expenditure side. Not a lot of differences, so we'll just point out, some of those that we made.
And as we know, we're prorated at 89% right now, so we've built the budget on 89% proration, but the way that we've structured the budget and looked at our suggestions for cuts, we will be okay at 87% to still have a budget balanced for you. And actually, we would be okay beyond that if we had to, but we certainly hope not. But with the extra 2.2% that they gave, 2.5% that they gave us in cuts the last time, that would take us down to the 87. So we wanted to make sure we were prepared. Been keeping our ears to the ground about where we are with things from the state, and we just don't know that we're going to have any clear understanding of what type of proration. There's even been some recent conversations about proration per student rather than an overall GSA, general state aid proration. We would come out ahead a bit if they did a proration per student. We would, I think you said about $53,000 ahead. I mean, that's about one position though. So when you look at it that way, it's a little different than, it's all in how they figure it, and we would come out just a little bit more ahead. And those are things that I know they talked about at the Illinois State Board meeting last week. Several people were down there to lobby on the behalf of that conversation. And then we actually hosted the large unit district. We hosted Governor Rauner here in this room last Friday to ask him of all of the questions that we had, and basically he's just working on it. That's kind of where we are. We had no, we did get a firm sense that there probably would be some sort of proration, but we feel like we've waited as long as we can. We need to move forward on our preliminary budget to you and bring it to you, but we also wanted to do so in a prudent manner that allowed us to have the best information possible at the time.
Right, and we probably won't have any definite answers on the revenue side on June the 1st, but hopefully by the time it's formally approved at the first board meeting in July, we'll have some pretty solid numbers.
Okay. Don't count on it. Yeah,
Don't count on it.
yeah. Well, we'll know a little bit of how we finish the fiscal year at least, but other than that, all right.
Any more questions for Mr. Basco? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to 7.1, Superintendent's Report.
All right. I wanted to do a few shout outs, and then I'm going to introduce a few of our old business pieces in my report today to give you an update. I wanted to congratulate the Sangamon CEO. We've had a week of celebrations this week. At 7:15 last Thursday, we celebrated our Sangamon CEO graduation. The class meets for 90 minutes each day during the school year. There are representatives from all three of our high schools this year in the program. During that time, students visit local businesses, they write business plans, they present them to bankers to see what the fiscal responsibility is, and they also did their own seed business or startup business during this program. And then they're attached with a mentor in our community that allows them to learn and grow. The mission of the program is to give young people tools and encouragement to their hometowns by starting a business, being very innovative, having those connections in the community, but more importantly, be ready to go on to college and career and hopefully stay in our community and grow their business interests or be a part of our business community. It was very heartwarming to see those projects, and they've actually been displaying them throughout the community at different events. They were at LeaderCast a few weeks ago, and they were also at the Business Connections downtown, so showing their businesses to the public. And there's a lot of lawn businesses, so if anybody needs any cards, just let me know. There was a lot of people that had those. Also had graduation for our Physicians Pipeline Preparatory Program, the P4. We had 8 students in our district that participated in the P4 graduation at SIU School of Medicine. The ceremony honored their 4 years of dedication to this program, and one of the students is going to enlist in the Army, and the other 7 have all plans to attend college. So I'm very proud of those students as well as they move forward. I wanted to congratulate Mrs. Funderburg for your Women of Influence Award last week with the Business Journal. It was a very nice reception and event, and just a really great way to honor women that have really taken on leadership roles in our community. So congratulations. We also had a couple great winners over at Springfield High. Heath Warren broke a couple records last week in the track meet. I think the 1600 and the 800. Am I 8? Yep. What'd you say? 880. 880. So that, and then, my own son, I gotta give a shout out for him. Bailey Gill and Moshe Latif won the all-conference doubles tennis this past week. So we're really proud of some of those athletes that are out there trying hard. And I'm sure I missed 100, but everybody else kind of touched on some of those as well. And last but not least, you mentioned the Springfield High team helping out. The Southeast football team went out and volunteered at the Susan G. Coleman Race for the Cure on Friday night and helped pick up and do all the barricades and do all of those things. So it's really great to see our sports teams and our students out in the community volunteering and helping on a regular basis. And it's something that I hear about when I'm out in the community, and they really appreciate that. So I could go on forever because we were really seriously at the on the tour of events this week. And I should mention that the Sangamon CEO program is an independent group, but they're also really connected to the Regional Office of Career and Technical Education out at Lincoln Land Community College too. They're a big piece of it, as well as the Chamber of Commerce. So it's another example of the business community and our Springfield community coming together to support our students. And once again, a great shout out to all of the Educator of the Year and Administrator of the Year nominees and our Rising Stars. It was just great to be there that day and honor them and be in the room with a lot of great educators, current and from the past. We had a lot of retired administrators coming back to help celebrate that, and it was just a great feel and kind of reminds you why you do this work each and every day. In the past, there had been a couple questions regarding Southeast High School's Health Academy. So I'm going to invite up Mr. Wind, the principal at Southeast High School, to give us a little overview of where they are. I also noticed that many of the Health Academy students that were graduating this year were receiving some pretty high honors, and I know they're going on to do some things in the health industry. So he's going to give us a few numbers and an overview of where you're at with this program.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Gill. Members of the Board of Education, thank you for letting me be here this evening. I'm representing Teresa Holton, Debbie Davis, and Matt Mayton, who are the 3 Health Science Academy teachers who could not be here this evening. Just a quick overview. The Health Science Academy first began 22 years ago through state grant monies. It was originally housed at Webster School, which is now Ball Charter, and moved to Southeast High School 17 years ago when Mr. Albert Betts was at Southeast High School. The Health Science Academy came over. Rationale for the program was simple. Springfield had a large medical community, and we knew that we had the ability to produce some students for that medical community and partner up with some of that medical community in the school. We have 4 major partners with our Health Science Academy: Memorial Medical Center, St. John's, various clinics, Springfield Clinic and some of the other various clinics in the area, and Lincoln Land Community College. At the beginning of this experience, there was a lot of shadowing that went on where classes as a whole would go into the different institutions and shadow doctors and see what was going on there. But due to HEPA laws and other things, that has kind of been restricted over the last several years, and it's gone to more of a guest speaker mode to get doctors and other professionals into the school. They have guest speakers in radiology, respiratory therapy, physical therapy, sports medicine, surgical technology, medical lab technology, nursing, occupational therapy. They do all those things inside the building. They bring people in and they have group discussions, and they also train for CPR and first aid at the building. So the students who are in this cohort of classes, they get all those things, and they actually figure out whether the medical field is for them and then what part of the medical field works best. We have students that basically 100% acceptance into college or the military once they leave our program. It's a great response there. These are some of the strongest students in the building. They come in for this program. They don't have to be our boundary area kids. It's a magnet school, so they can come in from outside. They develop a real strong bond with the faculty and with each other because they see these members of the staff. They see Teresa Holton for 4 years as an English teacher. They see Ms. Davis as 2 years as a science teacher, and Mr. Mayton 2 years as a social studies teacher. So they develop some real strong bonds with those teaching staff and the students. And then the teaching staff also develops some very strong bonds with the families that are there because they see those same families repeatedly. Significant number of students come back, and those families see us again because their siblings come back to the program and they apply to be in the program. Currently, the one difference between our regular curriculum and the Health Science Academy, the Health Science Academy offers a health occupations class freshman year. That is a class that is specific to that group of students, and it's not offered to anybody else. That is the one difference. All of the other classes that are offered in the Health Science Academy are regular curriculum throughout the building, and most of them are more rigorous classes, especially as they go up through the junior and senior year. The majority of those students take at least one AP class, if not more, as they get into their junior and senior year. At this point in time, the class of 2015, who's in our Health Science Academy, 15 of the 23 seniors are going into a health or science-related field. So it's a great percentage going in there. We are working on a variety of other things in that program. We're trying to bring in Project Lead the Way, the biomedical side of Project Lead the Way, for more hands-on experience. And this would kind of merge within that health occupations class, so that kids are getting a more hands-on look at what is health occupations and the academic vocabulary that goes along with health occupations and what they're going to do with it when they graduate. We have 30 students who are currently enrolled for the 15-16 school year as freshmen, and we have some other slots out there that are pending, depending on grades and some other things that come in. So the application process is rigorous. There's an interview component with it. So we held some slots out there for this coming year to make sure that we had some candidates that got grades and things at the end of the year, that they were able to be a part of the program.
Great.
Okay, so that's a general overview for you.
Well, thanks for the update, because, I've been asking about it because I've known your programs existed, and I just kind of wanted an update. And you probably already know this too. I'm sure the superintendent's told you. SIU School of Medicine is really interested in partnering with us all across the district, and very interested in your program, and willing to do what they can do to help with whatever it is you need,
Okay.
Within your program. So.
And I will take that back to those teaching staff and see how we can build a stronger bond than we already have.
Right.
Through the P4 program and some other things, we've had kids that have been a part of that SIU School of Medicine at various spots. We have students that still go out and shadow, singular shadow experiences, and they arrange those and do those. But anything we can do to build the partnership would be good.
Okay, thanks.
I definitely shared with Dr. Stewart the Project Lead the Way curriculum. You have a teacher that will be trained over the summer, as well as Lanphier High School, and that it's a biomedical. It's kind of interesting. It's a new way through the STEM technology type, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics approach. But with the biomedical program, they come in the very first year, and as freshmen they take an elective, and they have basically there's a body, there's like a CSI incident, and then they unpack the mystery of how that patient passed away. It touches on community health issues and just goes along, and there's a 4-year curriculum that they follow where they get to kind of unpack the mystery of this death. And so it's kind of a interesting way to connect the work that they're doing to something a little bit more exciting in curriculum. So it's got some really great, it's brand new with Project Lead the Way. It's a new component that they just developed, and there's a full curriculum with it and all of these things. So we're also looking for, partnerships on how to make sure we are able to fund all of those things,
right.
because it comes with a little bit of a price, but it's something that I think will be really exciting, and I'm glad that your school took an opportunity for that.
Thank you.
All right.
Anybody else?
Jason, but I do have a question. Why is Springfield High School
Thank
not
you.
included in this
Thank you,
bio?
Mr.
Thank you.
They're exploring it as well. Yeah, for the class this summer, they have somebody that's ready to take it, right? I didn't misspeak, that Lanphier and Southeast are the two that have signed up.
Next year.
Oh, they're going to do the following year? Okay. And so Springfield High can be a part of it the following year as well?
From
Okay.
its beginning, it was a standalone, and it was over Webster. And there was all kinds of things that went on, but it ended up at Southeast High School, who wanted it desperately, and it has been successful since then. And by virtue of the fact that they were able to move across the street and become part of a high school, it made that program flourish. And it made room for the later things we've got at Ball Charter and some of that. So, wonderful program.
Okay, but back to my question. I hope we're not moving away from developing separate programs as much as we want to maintain that we're going to have lateral coursework across the district. And, I know you don't want to get 2 or 3 years behind in doing some of these things. So if we can unify it and bring it on board at the same time, to me, is better.
Mrs. Worth, do you have any comments? And I know you're also going to give us a Parchment update tonight as well. Is that?
I agree with you, Ms. Johnson, in trying to make all the schools.
She needs to, yeah.
Equal, and so we'll work towards that effort. And the Project Lead the Way is also an offspring of, is it on? Sorry. Of what you talked about earlier when you saw Jefferson at the Capitol. So that's another arm of Project Lead the Way. So yes, ma'am, we will work towards that effort. And then as for Parchment, you want me to talk about that
Yeah, that was
now?
the second part of it. I'd already had that prepared for you tonight, Mrs. Funderburg. A little bit of a Parchment update. If there's any more questions, let me know.
For Parchment, just to kind of give a timeline, in March, we went through the registration process, training sessions completed for school guidance staff. 12th grade student information was uploaded to Parchment. In April, we gave informational or sent out informational letters to all 12th grade parents. Parent link calls were made. Additional school staff completed training. 12th grade students completed their accounts set up at the schools, and schools began to receive transcript requests from alumni. That was all in April. Also in April, 11th grade student information was uploaded to Parchment, and informational letters sent out to 11th grade parents as well as the parent link. And then in May, 12th grade students start requesting their transcripts through Parchment. Alumni continue to request transcripts. Let me see here. 11th grade students are still working towards finishing up, getting their accounts set up. Seniors are reminded to request their final transcripts through their Parchment account. I went to the last FACE meeting, the district FACE meeting that we had, and I was able to sit, the 3 PTO presidents had a session, and I was able to sit with them and talk to them, and we shared information. And I believe at Springfield High, I know I'm working closely with Mrs. Gordy. She's going to be presenting to the PTO. I think they have a PTO meeting tomorrow night, I think, if my calendar has it right. And so she's going to be sharing some information with parents in that regard. The other 2 PTO presidents thought that we had kind of a lot going on here in May, so we're going to work towards working with them to get the word out to the parents starting into next year. And we will, once school is out, so that 12th grade students will send another robocall out to remind them to start requesting their transcripts. That's pretty much it. The ultimate goal is to get everybody done. We're working with our schools with Freshmen Forward to try to get our freshmen all enrolled as they come in, and then we'll move into sophomores next year. So our goal is to use that as a process to just get, use Freshmen Forward to get everybody enrolled as they come in, and then as they enroll individually to get them to enroll as part of the enrollment process.
Are we planning any information nights or anything for parents in the fall as to-be senior parents become senior parents in the fall?
Yes, we would like to do that. We're just kind of waiting on all of our calendar days and that to be set before we do that. But yes, ma'am, we will do that.
Okay. And then Mrs. Gill, just kind of building off of Mrs. Morrison's comments and our student board members' comment, have you looked into, I know we've brought this issue to you before, about sort of the inequity in college resources among the 3 high schools, and Springfield High School is frequently on the losing end of that one. Have you looked into how we can equalize those resources?
I actually have. I'd like to bring a plan to you that has all the monetary components of this. One of the things that the ICAC system that we have right now, where we have the 2 recently graduated people at Southeast and Lanford through a grant because of funding. That funding has actually been cut at the state level, and will no longer be able to have those positions at the high schools either. So we've been looking at a creative way that we can still provide that extra support. Now, that doesn't include Mr. Ramback or Ms. Watkins at Southeast or Mrs. Posey or her position at Springfield High. Those are still static and will still be there. However, that extra person at Southeast and Lanphier has always been a big help, and people speak very highly of those interns, if you will, that are coming that have that recent knowledge. And so we've been looking at a way through our budget process and seeing how we can maybe fund somebody who can support all 3 high schools. If it's not through the grant anymore, there won't be any restrictions. We'll still have the post-secondary coaches, and if that one person could then float between the 3 high schools, we feel that that would be a very good way to utilize some funding to get that through. We would be able to do that with a non-certified position, not a teacher position. So it'd be, we're just trying to figure out all the ins and outs, get information on how they were paid and what equivalent they were paid, and then figure out how you interview for that type of a position and what type of a person could be willing and able to do that, because it's very skill oriented to have all that knowledge about the FAFSA and how to apply for all of those things. And once again, I think it's just tapping into our AVID programs at the schools and figuring out how we really raise our ability to help all students, no matter what class they're in, have that same opportunity to learn about how to apply for college or any other post-secondary work.
So is it possible, since we have a lot of people who are retired in this community from the state of Illinois or not employed, to maybe develop, rather than look at it as a paying program, maybe as a volunteer or a mentor program?
We always could. We could. I mean, it's something where we hope people can get some training and have some real specific knowledge to help these students,
But I
because
think there are people out there who would be willing to go through the training and who would be willing to lend a hand. And if we could work something through, maybe this is a place where the chamber could help us.
Perhaps.
Something
Well,
like
Mrs.
that.
Boozer had a great meeting with some local families not too long ago about not necessarily the getting into college, but if they wanted to be college athletes, how to go about, no matter whether you were going to play D1, D2, or D3. Do you want to speak to that a little bit? Because that was a great outreach to us about things that we could think about as we go into this next school year.
The conversation was about utilizing some of the time and resources that we already have available, bringing families together who are interested in their students being college athletes, and maybe looking at bringing all of our high schools together and having like a community cookout with your guest speakers from the students' perspective of what it means to be a student athlete, and from the parents' perspective and what it means to be a parent preparing your child. We thought about even starting as early as middle school, because that's when it really begins, and start having those conversations with families as well. So we're really looking at more of a community event where we have people there who can speak to the experience from every angle, from the golf and from kids who are going to play football and kids who go to play basketball, but just really knowing what is required. And I think that would be also another great place to have the conversation about parchment and getting parents signed up and training. So just trying to look at different avenues and venues and ways to reach all of our families instead of just the same ones all the time. But when you do something like that, you bring them all together for something exciting like that, you get a better turnout. So that was the conversation we had from people in our own system who've gone through the process, who want to give back. We have a lot of people in the community who want to give back to 186 and to the families. Is there anything else? Mr. Sanders was part of that conversation as well.
Okay, thank you. Well, I felt too that they would even mentor families.
Yes,
That
and-
if they were serious and wanted to have some help, that then we would attach families who might be in the same sport or had gone through this process and help them along the way.
Exactly, and I
Yeah.
forgot that piece. We did talk about that.
Thunderberg and I have talked a lot, just because we have young men in our homes, that D3 is way different than D1 and D2, and but it's just as much of an honor to be a part of a D3 program as it is to get into D1 and D2, and we just want to make sure that we have opportunities to really explain to students how they can be a part of those activities.
Exactly, and knowing which courses to take and all those pieces is really crucial as well, especially when you're working with NCAA. There's some ins and outs that you will need to know.
Yeah.
So mentoring those families was really crucial, because we have a lot of talent, but sometimes we don't always have the resources available as a parent to know how to get my child to the next level. So we want to help that.
Sure.
Okay. And I'm one of the biggest sports fans sitting up here.
We know.
But the objective is to reach out, to touch all students, not
right.
just those that are involved in sports, okay?
Yeah, I was just giving you an example of a
Yeah.
recent group that had
Okay,
just
but
reached
I'm-
out to
but
us.
as,
Yeah.
you know, when you do those
Understand.
little groups, that's fine. If you notice, it's Jackson out of Chicago I get his emails every day. Anyway, they have a major college fair type thing where they have a great big group that comes in to, like something that they would have at the convention center, and then all the kids can come in and just go through those college groups. I know we have, I've been to the ones that they've had at Lanphier High School, but, just to open it up and to encourage, we just came through these interviews with these students for a student board member, and, they are all into motivation. So if they can spread that joy to their peers, it would be wonderful.
Ms. Johnson, I think one of the things we're really trying to do to help address that is also using our AVID program, because even though you may be a student who's in AVID, taking it as an elective, there are opportunities to have school-wide AVID. So that will be another great way to reach the students in that way. And so through the training this summer, we're going to be thinking about how we can make that happen in all of our schools, not just for those students who actually get to take the AVID elective course, but how can we spread it throughout the whole building so that it's touching every student, and every teacher has some kind of aspect of it. So we're working on that as well.
Okay, I think that concludes my report unless anybody has any questions for me.
Okay, we'll move on to consent action items. 8.1 through 8.11.
I recommend approval of the consent action items 8.2 through 8.11 as described in the corresponding resolutions.
So moved.
Second, Mr. Flamini. Any discussion, questions?
Yes. On 8.6 on the dairy food, has that price gone up and there's only one bidder, or is it the same bidder we had last year? 8.6. Or it's actually
that would've been the only-
bid 1518.
Yes, that would have been the only bidder. I'm not sure of the price increase. I would have to go back and compare that.
Okay, can you please let us know if there's a major price increase on that?
I had some questions on 8.7 through 8.10, just a better understanding for the summer food program. So the individuals that can participate in receiving the meals, is that just children, or does it also include their family members?
Actually, their family members can eat. Anyone can eat. It's free of charge up to the age of 19. Adults, parents can purchase meals for $2 for breakfast and $3.50 for lunch. We are fully reimbursed by the USDA on a per meal served basis. I think you gave me some numbers. It was $2,075 for breakfast and about $3,645 for lunches that we were reimbursed last year. And we do employ those workers as well.
Okay, so with the reimbursement, does that include paying the staff?
Yeah, that's
It
actually,
does,
yeah,
yeah.
that was actually maybe about $2.07 per meal for breakfast that we're reimbursed,
$7,
and $3 and whatever that.
50 cents for
50
lunch,
cents
yeah.
for lunches. So yes, that does fully fund the program.
And so it funds the salary of the
Yes.
people preparing
Of
the
The
meals?
staff and the food costs.
Okay,
yes.
okay. And then the other, in the summary for 8.7 and 8.9, it states that the Springfield School District, the staff at Wanless School is going to be preparing the meal? I didn't-
It's scope. It's cafeteria staff that's hired there to serve the SCOPE program during
Okay.
the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
And,
So wherever they have summer programs, we have to put staff. Right.
and at 8.10, you had Capital Area Career Center with the Hope School. How does that play a role in there?
Did they shuttle food? Is that what they do?
Yes,
Or
they do.
yeah.
Okay. That's all.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Thunderbird,
Aye.
Hanley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini. That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, now on the roll call action items, 9.1.
President Zimmers and members of the board, the superintendent recommends adoption of the personnel recommendations with one change. Page 2, letter D, leave of absence. Item 1, the FMLA shall be extended through May 29th, 2015.
No, I mentioned that before you talked about it.
Okay, the motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Handley?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Lopez?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Zimmers?
Before I take a vote, I'll give you my vote. I have an issue. Everybody in this room that knows me, anybody that's worked with me, anybody that has worked for me, knows when I have an issue, I'm going to bring it forward. I'm not going to let it sit. We have worked very hard, I think, these last 2 years to have a working relationship with the media in Springfield. I think it's worked. We have a PR director now. We have a superintendent who is very accessible to the media. I, as board president, I think I'm accessible, as are other board members. So I think, we have tried to be transparent. I feel like the media has been fair to us for the most part in the last couple of years. There's always instances where maybe something's gotten wrong. But we had an incident, an article in the newspaper Sunday about our potential football coach at Springfield High, which was very disconcerting to us on the board because we had no knowledge of this before it came out in the paper on Sunday. And the reason that this is disconcerting, if we had had an issue with this person, which we do not, we're in full support of this coach, that puts us in a very awkward position because it's out in the public before we know about it. I have an issue with that. I feel badly for the coach because what if he had not already told his employers where he's coming from, that he was leaving because he's waiting on this vote tonight? That puts him in a predicament. We are very pleased to have this coach. I'm going to say it publicly. First and most of all, he's a great teacher who happens to be a coach, and I think that's a plus. It's not about wins and losses. It's about teaching, and I think we found a person to do this, so we are in full support. My problem here is we have got to have trust when we're working together. When things like this happen, it kind of hurts the trust. So you all out there know me. You know when I have an issue, I'm going to deal with it. This burned me up yesterday. I'm not going to lie about it. I stayed about it all day. I've had my piece. I'm over it. And I'm voting yes on all the personnel issues.
Flamini?
Yeah.
Funderburg?
Aye, and I thank you, Mr. Zimmers, for bringing those concerns forward. I also want to recognize the work of the committee, who I understand worked diligently to bring us a successful candidate at Springfield High School. And Mrs. Gill, thank you for making this recommendation. I'm a yes.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, 9.2.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Mr. Basco.
President Zimmers, members of the board, the superintendent recommends adoption of the following resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that Springfield School District number 186 does hereby adopt as its prevailing rate of wages for construction work at district facilities the rates as are from time to time determined by the Illinois Department of Labor.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion, questions?
I have a question. What are you referring to? You meaning that because we get money from the state, we have to abide by the Prevailing Wage Act,
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
Okay.
And all of that is posted for the school district by the regional office for all districts in our area.
I'll introduce him at the end. Can you tell him if they're going to go with the reporters to come right back? Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Johnson?
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
Funderburg.
Aye.
Handley.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, 9.3.
Okay, these go through each of the policies as we had a first reading at the last meeting. 9.3, whereas the Board of Education of the Springfield School District 186 maintains board policy and manuals given direction to the district, and whereas such policy and manuals reflect case law, legal rulings, legislation, and district practice. Now therefore it be resolved that the Board of Education approves the attached policies related to political activities.
Okay, motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Yes. So what we're saying is it can't be done.
Oh, you can have this.
Well, you can, citizens can, it actually is a little bit different than it was in the past. They can put their, citizens can put their name in and have them in programs, but they can't put their office. That's what this policy was recommending. That's a short version of it. And it's actually allowing some of the forums that we hadn't allowed in the past, so that's a positive. As long as all candidates are invited, it allows for those forums to occur at the schools. And
But they cannot put any political ads in any of the, like, football booster
they
programs.
can do so as citizens, but not as
citizens, but not
candidates,
their-
yeah.
That's why the sign's covered up at Southeast for Mr. Edwards.
Is that it? Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Lopez.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
No.
Funderburg.
No.
Handley.
No.
Johnson.
No.
That is 3 ayes and 4 noes. Motion passed.
Okay, moving on to 9.4.
This is the board policies on safety, whereas the Board of Education in Springfield School District 186 maintains board policy manuals given direction to the district, and whereas such policy and manuals reflect case law, legal rulings, legislation, and district practice, now it therefore be resolved that the board approves the attached policies relating to safety.
Okay, motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, questions?
Yes, I have a question. I just want a clarification that is there a requirement that a written policy be present for those locations that the district does not own? Like if we have a cross-country meet or a golfing tournament, you know, does there have to be a written safety plan?
Right.
At those locations?
Yes, this is a part of the law. We consulted legal counsel on this to help answer this question for you. The way the law is written makes the hosting school district responsible for having the written plan for each facility at which we supervise games, meets, tournaments of any type. The draft policy indicates that we have a plan at the district's physical fitness facilities, which could be construed as meaning how the facilities are defined by the law. Therefore, this would include park district facilities that we do use. We would have to have a plan for that, even though it's owned by the park district. Obviously, this is not how the general public would more likely read that, though. It's kind of confusing, so we made sure we had that. We have one suggestion that we could revise this. It could say the superintendent or designee shall implement a written plan for responding to medical emergencies in accordance with the Physical Facility Medical Emergency Preparedness Act. And as it currently reads, this is a little bit different. It says that we would just have a written plan for responding to medical emergencies. So we could change that to address this, but it's just kind of the wording that we could do. So the removal of the district's fitness physical facilities would preferably remove any confusion that the general public might have about the policy, so that we can really define what that means, because it kind of just sounds like a gym when you put it that way, but it really should kind of spell out a little bit more all the different facilities that we would have, and we're happy to do that if that
I would like something
change it.
like that. Make it more clear.
I agree.
Okay. So we would just need to have one or more board members make a motion to amend the language this evening, and then we would need to bring it to we would table this motion and bring it to the table the next time.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
So what do we need to do?
Then we'll take a vote on that.
You need to vote on that.
Right, to table it. Okay.
The vote is on the language change.
Before we do that, can you repeat to me what it is you want changed?
Okay, there in the first sentence of the proposed AED paragraph, that's what would change. We would change it to, the superintendent or designee shall implement a written plan for responding to medical emergencies in accordance with the Fitness Facility Medical Emergency Preparedness Act. Right now, it reads something, different. It just says district's physical fitness facilities. So we would make sure that any fitness facility is defined, and then also Medical Emergency Preparedness Act is added in there.
Okay.
So we would change that.
All right. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Moore,
Aye.
Zimmers,
Aye.
Flamini,
Are we voting on the original motion here?
Amended.
No.
The
The
amendment?
amended one where I'll define
Aye.
the word facility.
thank you. Funderburk,
Aye.
Hanley,
Aye.
Johnson. Lopez.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
So we'll make that change, and then we'll vote on it the next time around. Right.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
9.5,
Well, do we need to vote on approving 720, policy number 720.23? Because we only voted on the change for 465.01.
It's a part of the same item.
Yes, she's right.
Yeah, because we just voted on it.
Follow through with it then?
Now we need to vote on 720.
so we'll just vote on that all together? Right. Okay, 9.5,
Are we going to do it?
We can do it all together
At
next
the
time
end.
if you'd like, or we can split it and vote on the same.
Other
It
safety
just-
pieces
It
now.
just depends on what you all want to do.
The safety drills are the other one.
It'd probably be easier to keep them together.
right.
Would it be? Okay, all right, then we'll do it. So we're going on to 9.5. This is interrogations and searches. Whereas the Board of Education of Springfield School District 186 maintains board policy manuals given direction to the district, and whereas such policy and manuals reflect case law, legal rulings, legislation, and district practice, now it therefore be resolved that the board approves the attached policy relating to interrogations and searches.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I just had a question. Will this change be included in the student handbook? So people, students and parents will be aware of this change?
Mr. Sanders?
What we're trying to do is match the language in policy, rules, and regs with that in the student handbook.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
Has it been moved and seconded?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Zimmers,
Aye.
Flamini,
Aye.
Funderburk,
Aye.
Hanley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, 9.6,
Okay, this is the teen dating violence policy, and this was a new piece of legislation this year, which I will go ahead and state will be a part of our curriculum. We'll work over the summer to make sure we incorporate it into existing curriculum and that teachers are trained and have pieces of information on how to really approach the pieces of language that are in this bill. And so it will be implemented fully next school year at the ages where this bill asks this to be done. Whereas the Board of Education of the Springfield School District 186 maintains board policy manuals giving direction to the district, and whereas such policies and manuals reflect case law, legal rulings, legislation, and district practice, now therefore it be resolved that the board approves the attached policy relating to teen dating violence.
So moved.
I move.
Moves to-
second. Do we have a second?
Well, if
Or did you
you
both
moved, I'll
move?
second
Well,
it.
okay, whatever you want to do.
Who moved first?
I'm on the same wavelength.
All right. Okay, any questions or discussion?
Okay, so what I hear you saying Superintendent Gill, is that you will develop the plan and have the program in place by August?
By the fall, right.
By the fall,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Yeah. I think that's in accordance with the law, so we'll make sure we incorporate it into the proper classes.
Well, in approving this policy this evening, if we have an incident occurring next week, do we have a, what's
I think
gonna
it would
our-
be very similar. Mr. Sanders, do you want to speak to that at all, or?
Sure.
it-
What we did with the rules. and
We've
regs,
already
we
talked
have
about it.
human rights record-keeping form, and also we've had it for many years, which allows a step-by-step procedure for schools to investigate allegations concerning discrimination, sexual harassment, and now what we did is add teen dating violence to that as well. And so we would follow the same procedure protocol that we normally would in investigating anything. Now what it does is provide the school a step-by-step framework as far as how to approach this, and also to provide a document for necessary data and documentation.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Flamini?
Aye.
Thunderbird?
Aye.
Hanley?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Lopez?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Zimmers?
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, 9.7, student discipline.
President Zimmers and members of the board, it is my recommendation that one 7th grade student be hereby expelled from further attendance at Jefferson Middle School through the end of the 2015-16 school year with a program.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Thunderbird?
Aye.
Hanley?
Aye.
Johnson?
Present.
Lopez?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Zimmers?
Aye.
Flamini?
Aye.
That is 6 aye votes and
And wake me up, yeah.
one present. Motion carries.
So the only question I have for the board then in regards to the political activities, will you give me some feedback, maybe individually, about how you would like to see that changed, or
Yeah,
is
I
it
guess
just
we were
gonna?
gonna have to reconvene that committee. I thought when we had the public meeting that we had this
Worked out?
worked out, but obviously
Yeah.
not. So we'll just have to go back
Right.
to the drawing board and redo the language.
Right. So just for the media's sake, I'm not going to comment on that tonight until the board
Yeah.
gives me some direction. I wasn't, yeah.
So, yeah,
just for the record, don't ask.
We can reintroduce that. That's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have anything else?
I have an announcement.
Go ahead.
If we're ready for those.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Springfield Tennis Academy will be starting up on June the 2nd at Southeast Tennis Court. And I think they start, Mrs. Grant, the coordinator, is here. What time do they start, dear?
It's 6 to 7:30.
From 6 to 7:30. And they emailed Nadel a form today for registration, and she's going to put it out.
It was sent out today. No,
Okay,
already.
so it's out there.
Good.
So, and this is a good program to occupy the students for a couple evenings of work a week during the summer. It's a great program.
On some newly resurfaced tennis courts. They are very nice out there. Good job. Yes, I think at this time I wanted to introduce Coach Gully. Is he back there? Is he out in the hall? Oh, there he is. Mr. Gully, welcome to Springfield, and more importantly, welcome to Springfield High School as our new football coach and teacher within our district. Yet to be determined which site, but we'll get that worked out in the next few weeks. So welcome aboard. Would you like to say a few things to the community or the board?
Absolutely. I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in bringing me here, the committee that went through the search for a new coach. I thought it was an excellent combination, administration, parents, and the students as well, the players that served. I'm beyond excited to start this new endeavor. I'm very excited to become a part of this community. And once again, I want to thank everyone for the opportunity.
Well, we welcome you and your
Welcome.
family.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody have anything else? If not, the next regular scheduled meeting will be Monday, June the 1st. Everybody have a great rest of the week.